Inspired by the incredible support they received in their careers from their wonderful family and the Italian-American community, Hollywood directors Anthony and Joe Russo, along with the Italian Sons and Daughters of America and the National Italian-American Foundation, have partnered to create the Russo Brothers Italian-American Film Forum. This exciting program offers grants, guidance, training, and internships to aspiring filmmakers across the country to create films that depict and explore the Italian-American experience for the understanding of future generations. This initiative will empower young, creative artists to continue the quest to tell our story to the world around us.
Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
The National Italian-American Foundation. Leadership in the arts.
Okay, good evening. Buonasera e benvenuti. Oh, I think I'm on mute. Hold on. Oh, I'm not. No, perfect. Okay, buonasera, benvenuti. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Russo Brothers Italian-American Film Forum Virtual Film Festival, presented by the National Italian-American Foundation in conjunction with the Italian Sons and Daughters of America, the Russo Brothers, and AGBO. NIAF is a membership-based, nonpartisan, and nonprofit organization. Founded in 1975, NIAF's mission is to preserve the Italian-American heritage and culture, promote and inspire a positive image and legacy of Italian Americans, and strengthen and empower ties between the United States and Italy. Created in 2016 by the acclaimed directors and co-founders and executive chairman of AGBO, Anthony and Joe Russo, together with the National Italian-American Foundation and the Italian Sons and Daughters of America, the Russo Brothers Italian-American Film Forum provides an incredible opportunity for inspired and creative artists to craft films that explore the Italian-American experience. Each year, a select number of applicants are awarded an $8,000 grant that serves as a production budget for the story they'd like to develop and create for on screen. Of those applicants, only 3 are invited to screen their films during the NIAF Gala weekend in Washington, D.C., and a final winner is chosen and presented an award during the gala dinner. At the gala this past Saturday evening, the 2020 and 2021 winners were announced, and we're pleased to kick off the Virtual Film Festival with the winner of the 2020 edition, Amy Campione with Yes Chef. Amy will be taking questions from the audience at the end of the screening, so please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. And now I'd like to introduce Amy Campione. Amy is a filmmaker based in Los Angeles, California. In 2015, she was named one of the Del Weston's top 100 indie filmmakers. She was subsequently selected for and participated in the 2016-2017 Women in Film Mentorship Program. In 2017, Amy's first feature film, American Girl, which she produced and directed, was released on Amazon Prime, Xbox, iTunes, and Google Play. In 2018, Amy was also selected for and participated in Ryan Murphy's HALF Foundation Directing Mentorship Program. In 2019, her pilot episode, Snares the Devil, won the Filmmaker Trapped web series competition and was turned into a 10-episode short-form series, which was released in 2020. It's currently being developed into a feature film. So Amy won the 2020 edition of the Russo Brothers Italian-American Film Forum with her film, Yes Chef. And here's the synopsis that we'll watch of Yes Chef. On the eve of being awarded her second Michelin star, Corinne Bianchi, a third-generation Italian-American chef, struggles to celebrate her success as she reminisces about her past. Her connection to her culture runs deep, and much of her memories are connected to her family, particularly her grandparents. Flashing back and forth between present day and a warm childhood holiday memory, the film is a visceral tale that explores the connection between individual and culture. Corinne delves deep within herself to discover what it means to be Italian as she aims to defend her food and her style while honoring her family. Corinne travels back to visit her grandmother in the small town she was raised in order to reconnect with the pieces of herself that have unknowingly defined her. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to present Yes Chef. Well,
Hi.
Hi there. I understand there were some technical difficulties with the film, so I do want to say that we are going to be sharing the film link with our participants tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties that we've had tonight, so my apologies. But we do want to take some questions from the audience. Or Amy, do you want to say a couple words before we kick off the Q&A?
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining tonight, depending on where you are, afternoon, evening. Yeah, this film is really personal to me. A lot of it is really very much inspired by my upbringing, and I just kind of wanted to create something that kind of gave this atmospheric feel, that let people see what it felt like for me to be raised, in an Italian American family. So yeah, so thanks so much for being here. If you have any questions,
Yeah,
I'd love to answer them.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to kick off the questions with a question. So
Great.
your film does, film explores some beautiful yet complicated themes. So what really inspired you to tell this story?
So actually, about 3 or 4 years ago, I had started working on a feature-length script. At the time, no chef that was a woman in the United States had been awarded 3 Michelin stars. So I had started a script about a chef that's a woman that is the first in the United States to be awarded that. Since then, actually in 2019, Dominique Crenn was awarded 3 Michelin stars, which is amazing. But that concept, it kind of threw the concept of the script off. So I've always had this character and this kind of idea floating around the back of my head. And I played with, what, aspects of her identity I wanted to explore, obviously, cultural and, her career, things like that. So, when I came across the film forum and I was thinking about what I wanted to submit, I really wanted to use sort of that character and that backstory, and then just delve more deeply into the cultural identity part, and how it kind of, how it's defined her and created her, and how sometimes it can clash with, the modern world we live in, and
Sure.
what is expected of you.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, we're getting a lot of comments from the viewers saying that they loved it, and a lot of tears remembering their family gatherings in the kitchen. Certainly reminded me of me and my family, even to the house coat that the grandmother wore. So I've seen a lot of those around in my day. So excellent depiction of a Italian American family. I see a lot of hands being raised. If you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, just type it out so we can read the question right to Amy. That would be great. We will mention who the question is coming from. So Amy, really quick, so who are some of your filmmaking inspirations?
Yeah, so I really like a lot of different films, a lot of different genres, a lot of different, styles. I tend to like a lot of darker kind of stuff. I'm a really big David Fincher fan. I love a big Tarantino fan. But, I'm really big, I've really tried to, like I said, in what I like, I love everything. I love everything from the, old horror movies to, to modern, indie cinema, comedy, drama, everything. So I feel like a little bit of everything. I feel like you kind of, I could name a million filmmakers who I'm inspired by. Yeah.
Okay, great. We have another question. In what ways do you think film, cinema, and entertainment could help bridge cultural divides?
I think being more culturally aware of what you're saying and why you're saying it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions, among, Italian American, how Italian Americans are depicted, and there's things that we, love/hate, certainly the mafia affiliation and thing, people, they love those films, but, amongst the community, it's so much more than that. And so I can speak from, from my perspective as Italian American, I would love to see like the less stereotypical depiction and something that is more realistic. And I think you can say that across the board for a lot of, I'm sure people of all ethnicities would kind of agree that we see the stereotypes so often,
Right.
I think it can really bridge cultural divides by really allowing people of different cultures to have a say in how they are depicted on screen.
Yeah.
My cat's running across
Oh,
my view.
great cameo.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Kip is asking, what was something you discovered in the post-production process that wasn't originally planned on, or any happy accidents while shooting?
Yeah, so quite a few. Actually, a lot of the script was written to be very atmospheric. So I feel like, there was a lot of moments in the script that were written, with a dialogue and sort of a description of a scene and how I wanted it to play out. And then there would be alt versions of what that could be. I wanted the actors to kind of improvise and feel those moments. I think those, moments, create a lot of happy accidents. We found a lot of those moments when we were editing, but purposely, the kids playing outside, the family at the table, Corinne sitting with her grandparents, having lunch. That's something that we used to do growing up, always, sit around the table and eat, cold cuts and bread. And I just wanted to, that I wanted them to feel it and feel their characters. And that's certainly a lot of the script was found that way, actually.
Yeah. It's sometimes, when you just let them go, then
they were all very talented, and they all, understood the assignment from the beginning. They knew, and they did a great job.
Yeah. And were they all professional actors and actresses, or were maybe
yes.
some family members or anything?
No, so no family members. We shot in LA. I should have shot, if we had shot in Florida, I would have totally, most of my family lives there. But no, they were all professional actors, all fantastic, very, very talented. Yeah.
That's great. Howard is asking, did you ever see the movie The Big Night with Stanley Tucci about the two Italian-American brothers that come to start a restaurant? Did any Italian movies inspire you?
A lot of Italian movies inspire me. Certainly Big Night is a fantastic film. But I do think one thing that I've tried to, at least with, this as well, is I don't, know how often we really see Italian-American women depicted and how they're depicted. And I have another script I've been working on as well. It's a little darker drama, but it centers around an Italian-American woman. And, in a lot of my research into, Italian-American cinema history and, it's, how Italian-American cinema is depicted, you see very few films where Italian-American women have been depicted. So I kind of took what I saw in Italian-American cinema and I'm trying to, like I said, refocus it toward women,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And Kelly is asking, what region of Italy is Amy's family from? This film introduced so many issues, both from the restaurant industry and the family dynamics, pulled you in on so many different levels. Thank you, Amy.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. It was a lot of issues to kind of cover, and so I'm glad that you guys felt that and saw that. My family is from Sicily, outside of Palermo, Sicily.
Wonderful. Have you ever been?
I have not, no. But actually, my sister and I just started our journey into dual citizenship, and we're gonna plan a trip and be
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. Well, we know a couple people that help people. We know a couple companies that assist Italian Americans with dual citizenship. So let me know, and I can hook you up. So Thomas is asking, have you ever thought about the relationship of geography and the Italian American experience? Do you think location has any relevance?
Sure, certainly. And I think that's one part of the identity that I didn't, fully delve into in, a 22-minute short, but certainly as we become, third and fourth and later generation Italian Americans, and as we kind of, separate from our families and go off and do different things, we're less insular, we're less, we're not as quite as surrounded by a community as maybe our parents or our grandparents or great grandparents. And I think it does affect our experience as Italian Americans. And as we kind of pull further away from that, I certainly am sort of, I have this like nostalgic, reminiscent feeling for it, and I miss it. And it's something that I want to, pass on to, my children and the, and other people, and I want them to see this thing, and and you wonder if it can ever be what it was when we were kids. You want to keep it. That what our ancestors came here to do was allow us the opportunity to be these incredible things. But in doing that, we kind of have to move, not necessarily away from the culture, but away from this community.
Yeah, we evolve. It's just how evolution is.
Yeah. So it's bittersweet. I really cherish how I grew up, and the family that I grew up in, and having that Italian American experience, and you wonder if it's ever I would ever be able to recreate it, for future generations. So yeah.
Great. Kip is asking, with your final cut, did it turn out exactly as you planned, or did it become something better or something more?
Yeah, so I try not to be too, I usually go into it knowing what I want out of a final cut or how I kind of want it cut. But I try not to be too married to anything like super specific, it needs to absolutely be this, just because, things change when you're there, and things change in the edit. It maybe doesn't work as good as you thought it would. But I mean, I think it became everything it was supposed to be. I think it was, even better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the process. That's, I always say film is like a living, breathing thing, and it's not done until it's there, until it's completely edited and done. And I think I found a lot in the edit that, made it even more, even better than I'd hoped it would be.
That's great. That's good. So Victoria is asking, how long did the entire production take, and how much time did the shooting take?
So shooting was only 2 days. We did quite a bit. We did about 10 pages a day, which is very ambitious. I know. But working with a smaller budget, and just trying to, we had a lot of crew who was really donating their time and really just coming on and help, wanted to be a part of this. Our producers and things like that just believed in the project and want to be a part of it. So we tried to keep the production days small. Pre-production was kind of a mix that, we won in 2020, and then everything kind of shut down because of the pandemic. So I really had a lot of time to develop it and plan and think about what I would do now in this COVID world, and how we would shoot it, and if it would be the same. And for the most part, it really was. I don't think, COVID hindered us too much. I think, with the proper safety precautions, we were able to do everything we wanted.
Right.
But a solid 2 to 3 weeks once we really got into it of prep and location scouting and finding places and casting and all of those things. 2 days of shooting, and then we had about 2 to 3 weeks of editing before we turned it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quickie.
Quick, yes, quick.
But excellently done, as we saw. So John says your protagonist seemed to be somewhat sad or depressed. Was that intentional? And if so, why?
Yeah, I think that it was supposed to be fairly bittersweet. She's kind of, returning home to this, the family, is not quite the same, whether, we kind of we insinuate there, I don't, blatantly say it, but that the grandmother's perhaps losing her memory and her health is declining. And it is really her, as much as she wants to go home, sort of, unsure about like what that will be when she gets there, and how that will look and how that will feel, and not really wanting to confront that. So yeah, so I think it is really that bittersweet feeling, that, we have sometimes when there are maybe not, those things are happening at home, and you have these warm, beautiful memories and these things that like have defined who you are. Right. And at the same time, she's wondering if she, has honored her family. Has she, she's being kind of put on the spot, questioning, have you, did you make these decisions in spite of your family or for them, or how do you feel about your relationship to your family? She's being put on the spot with all these questions, which is something that a lot of certainly female chefs, but women that are, choose to kind of a different path that's slightly non-traditional. So yeah, so she, she has conflicting feelings about it.
Yeah. Understandable. And so Nancy is asking, this wonderful short evokes such nostalgia for my growing up experiences. Thank you. With the dimensional layers you presented, have you thought about developing this further into a longer dynamic version?
Yeah, I have. I had kind of mentioned earlier that I had a script that this was kind of loosely based on, but yeah, certainly there's so much more you can explore, with an identity and food and, our connections to that, the tradition of, the traditional depiction of a woman in a traditional role versus taking that, looking on that with pride and taking that into, now she's this woman in this high powered kitchen, and how these things in place. So there's so many elements of it that I could explore. Yeah. So I still have, that concept or that script that I've been mulling around, playing around with in my head since the film forum. So
that's
maybe.
great.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
well, yeah, keep us posted because
Yeah.
I think it would develop into a beautiful long feature length. So definitely. So I'm gonna ask one last question from one of the actually 2017 Film Forum finalists, Kirsten Keppel. Ciao, Kirsten. Nice to have you join us tonight. So Kirsten asks, how did you prepare the actors in the flashbacks? Did you discuss the whole story with the whole cast? There was so much fluidity between the scenes and the younger characters were so convincing. Brava.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think that, we had the whole cast got to read the whole script. I certainly have to say that, I have to throw that back at the actors. They're fantastic. Our casting director, Sheree, was amazing. And in finding these, wonderful actors that really not only looked, like each other, but just have, similar mannerisms and the way to, just these professional, beautifully talented actors. But certainly in pre-production and when we were shooting, we talked a lot about that, where these characters were, in their lives now, where they had been. Yeah, and like I said, they luckily, like I said, they were just these very talented actors that really luckily we kind of shot to where some present stuff was shot on the same day as past stuff, so we were kind of while we were shooting kind of going back and forth between time periods, so some of them could watch what the other actors were doing and kind of seeing recreate some of that in those moments. And yeah, like I said, I can't take all the credit for that. I would love to, but there was a lot of people that helped make that happen.
And the little girl was such a great
Really?
actress.
I know Romy, and shout out to Romy. Romy actually, we cast her because she looked so much like Kirsten, who played Corinne when she's older. Romy wore brown contacts so that way she could, because she has blue eyes. So and I
kidding.
Thought, yes, I mean, so professional and amazing, and just went up, above and beyond. She was incredible. I mean, everybody. Wow. Yes.
Wow. Was this one of?
Yes.
Is she watching tonight?
He's here. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, congratulations to Romy. Was this her first or one of her?
No, Romy is a professional. She has been acting for quite a while. So yeah.
Okay. Wow. She's accomplished a lot. Well, congratulations. Well, and congratulations, Amy, on your award, on your final award of the 2020 edition of the Russo Brothers Film Forum. Would you like to, do you have any other remarks to say to our audience before we close it out?
I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody, to the National Italian American Foundation, Italian Sons and Daughters of America, AGBO, Russo Brothers. Everybody has been just incredible in the support of this film. And like I said, it's very personal to me. And I'm just really, really excited that I was able to, to create something, not even just win, but just have the ability to win the grant and make this, was incredible. Yeah. And the cast and crew, all of you it wouldn't be anything without them. So thank you so much. And thank all of you for being here tonight and watching and supporting, and, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties that we did have tonight. So I will be sure, Amy, if it's okay, I'm going to send the link to everyone who registered tonight so they can watch the film without any technical difficulties. So thank you so much, Amy. Thank you to ISDA, AGBO, Anthony and Joe Russo for supporting this great film forum that supports, you know, talented filmmakers, excuse me. And yeah, so thank you so much. And we're going to be continuing our virtual film forum tomorrow night with Laura Caparotti's Tutti in Scena. It explores the Italians in theater in the theaters of New York City. And then on Thursday night, we're back with Charles Gino Marsala with Who Killed the Chief, which explores the historical event of the largest mass lynchings in the American history of Sicilian Americans in New Orleans. So stay tuned for those films. You can register on our website, NIAF.org, NIAF.org for the films. And look out for Amy on the next red carpet. She'll be there. Well, thank you so much, Amy, and thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Buona serata. Ciao.